Hello everyone and welcome back to Eat Sleep Reef. So this is going to be the last video I upload before I head over to MACNA 2018 happening in Las Vegas. I'm actually very excited. It's going to be my first MACNA event and there's just so many YouTubers going, so many companies. I can also assume there's going to be some great product releases, so very excited to head over there. And for you guys that are going over there, I am going to be in the Polyp Lab booth, so just look for me. I'd love to chat with you, take some pictures, talk about coral reefing, what have you. So that's going to be that. So getting into today's video, guys, you guys are probably saying, now, did you start a new tank? I actually did, but this is not my tank. This is actually a coworker's tank. And this tank here is the Cadlight 100 gallon. This is the artesian version. And pretty much that version has better cabinets than their other models. So we're gonna get right to it. And again, this is a 100-gallon tank, and to be very honest with you guys, I was a little bit afraid of setting up this tank. I had never set up something this big, and I just didn't know what challenges could come of it. So I'm gonna be able to kind of bring you guys along this journey and see really how easy or how difficult this was. So from the get-go, I do want to let you guys know I set up this tank 100% on my own. I did the rockscape, I did the sand, did the light, the lights, the sump, more importantly the plumbing. The plumbing was something that was very new to me and I just kind of was unsure about. But luckily, all in all, I am happy to say everything came out really good. Really have no complaints. Now, one thing I do also want to quickly touch on in this video is a little bit about the equipment we are running in this tank. So this tank is running a Gyre XF 280. I was kind of worried at the beginning. I was wondering, again, haven't done a tank this big. I was like, should I do two 280s side by or on opposite ends, or will one be enough? Well, I said, you know what? The stock controller can handle 2 pumps. So worst case scenario, I order another pump down the road. But honestly, guys, this thing's running at 20% and the flow makes it all the way across with no issues at all. Kind of the high flow area with this type of flow is going to be on the right side. The lower flow is going to be on the left side. So of course I'm going to adjust the corals accordingly. But all in all, I really could honestly tell you that for you guys wondering if an XF 280 can do a 100-gallon tank, it absolutely can. So let's quickly talk about the cycle. The cycle was completed in about 6-7 weeks in this tank. It was pretty straightforward. I was honestly kind of afraid of it. I just didn't know if maybe there would be a bigger algae bloom since it's a bigger tank, but it was honestly kind of like just like other tanks I've set up. Of course, just on a bigger scale, but everything was pretty straightforward. So the cycle was completed about 5 or 6 weeks. We then ran ahead and added some fish. You guys can see them here. They're all happy. They're eating. So really have no complaints about that. Currently, the tank is still going through the cycling, but kind of just going with it. So one thing you guys are going to see is the lights. I was kind of debating on doing 2 XR15s generation 4 or 3. Went ahead and did 3 just in case he wants to add a few more coral down the road. Certainly there's more than enough lighting for the tank. So for you guys wondering how many lights I'd probably recommend on a 100-gallon tank of this size, I would say 3. You can get away with 2, but to have the best coverage, I would say 3. I am running the Radion diffusers with the RMS mounts, and all this is hooked up and linked together with Reef Link. So that's just pretty much a web Wi-Fi interface that allows me to control the lights at any given time. So that's been pretty straightforward. Again, really no complaints with that. Now the next thing we're going to be talking about here is the sump area. Again, this is kind of where all my fears were. It was kind of in the sump area. I had never done a tank this big, so I wasn't sure how plumbing was done. I didn't understand any of that lingo, bulkheads, 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, and T-fit. I didn't understand any of that. So I went ahead, did some research, kind of got comfortable with it, and luckily was able to set up this whole system kind of on just watching a few videos and reading a little bit about it. So the sump is pretty straightforward. Again, the main goal for this tank is to go very minimalistic. So it has Aquamax reactor running the Cadlight Skimmer, a big 7-inch filter sock in the back. You can see the bulkheads I attached to run the reactor. I actually did 2 of them just in case we want to do 2 reactors down the road. Running an Eheim heater followed by the Mode Aquarium's return pump. Now guys, this return pump is an animal. Not only is it a return pump, but guys, you can even use it as a wave maker / return pump. I'm pretty sure that'd be a little bit more ideal for like a frag system or just a minimalistic setup. But I've actually tested out in this tank. You can use a return pump as a wave maker, which in my eyes, I had never heard of anything like that. So that was pretty cool to watch. And again, that is the Mode Aquarium's return pump. So for you guys that are wondering of a good return pump, I highly recommend it. It's not loud at all. It does a great job. Another thing I do want to touch on, guys, is the Skimmer. Now this is the next generation of the Cadlight Skimmer. For you guys know, in my personal tank, I run this, not the same Skimmer, the same brand. Look at this collection cup, guys. Just tons of gunk on it. Tons of stuff on it. Obviously, the dirtier it means, the better for your tank, because the dirtier skimmate coming out means the more proteins coming out of your water. So you guys can see it's a very dark skimmate. The bubble chamber in this thing is great. It's very efficient. Again, very quiet, not very loud. I've honestly gotten kind of the same results as the one I have at home on my 45 gallon. So for you guys wondering if I would recommend the Skimmer, 100% absolutely would recommend it. You guys can see the reactor on the left side running the GFO. Other than the media, we're running that GFO, we're running some carbon. No, it's pretty straightforward. Again, the whole goal with this tank, and my buddy had told me, Antonio, I don't want it to be very difficult. I want the maintenance to be very low. You know, of course, down the road, we can add dosers to help and accommodate a lot of the things, but all in all, it's very straightforward. So here's a shot of the return pump. You can see the Eheim heater. A lot of the wiring still needs to be cleaned up on this tank. I'm still finalizing some final placement of certain things, so forgive me for that. Here you can see the two outputs that we're grabbing from the return, just water straight from the return, so we don't have to run any pumps on reactors we had down the road. It does have a refugium section. You can probably see the light, but I don't think I'm gonna do a refugium. I've had so much great success with reactors, Chaeto reactors, that's probably the route we're gonna go. So I'm trying to see if there's anything I didn't cover, but I think we got everything. So I think really what made it so easy to set up this tank from the get-go was the whole Cadlight's pretty much offers this this tank in a pretty complete setup. Obviously it's the tank included, stand, sump, skimmer, return pump, and as well as all the plumbing needed to get it going. So I think, you know, from the get-go, they pretty much out of the box set you up to be successful, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out. You know, you don't need to worry about running, you know, what return pump do you need to run, what skimmer do you need to run, making a tank for the stand, you know, none of that. They did a lot of that hard work for you and pretty much just bundle it up. I am going to have a link in the description. You guys can go check out this tank if you are interested in it. They offer it in white and black. But yeah, I want to say, you know, great job on Cadlights. If I would ever recommend this tank, absolutely. You know, for anyone looking for it, to see this thing in person, to see the glass in person, it's incredible. So it's a very nice piece of furniture, if you will, you know, to have in your living room. And more importantly, it's a great place to house your fish, your corals. So for you guys looking for a tank out there, you know, something in the 100 gallon, they have different variations of the tanks. They got 40 gallons, 50s, 60s, 70s, so on and so forth. But like I said, I'm going to have a link in the description. So I think we're going to end this video here, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along. Again, I'm planning on doing a few other updates on this tank because my buddy is looking to put an eel in it. Quite a few crazy fish down the road, so I'm going to be bringing you guys along. But that's going to be it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down in the comment box below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Happy reefing.